You wake in the dead of night, your chest tight, the room spinning. Your right arm feels heavy, almost foreign. You try to speak, but the words tumble out slurred, jumbled. Somewhere, a clock ticks loudly, each second hammering home the reality that something is terribly wrong. In those critical minutes, before an ambulance can arrive, precious brain cells are dying. This isn't a rare story. As a brain doctor, I've seen too many seniors who go to bed healthy and wake up in the grip of a stroke. It's one of the most frightening realities of aging, and the cause isn't always what people expect. You might imagine it's a lifetime of smoking, high-fat meals, or never exercising. But what if I told you the trigger could be something far more subtle, something you believed was actually good for you? I'm talking about a category of snacks often marketed as healthy, full of nutrients, fiber, or protein, the kind you might keep by your bedside for a quick, guilt-free bite before sleep. For decades, companies have sold the idea that these snacks can be part of a balanced lifestyle, even for older adults. But in the unique environment of the aging body, where blood vessels are more fragile, circulation slows, and nighttime blood pressure control can falter, these foods can become dangerous. The human body operates on a carefully tuned internal clock. After age 60, that clock becomes more sensitive to disruptions. Eating right before bed can trigger a cascade of late-night biochemical reactions: blood sugar spikes, hormonal surges, and shifts in blood thickness. If the snack contains certain natural compounds, sugars, or even hidden salts, the result can be a perfect storm for clot formation during sleep. This is why, in my clinic, I've started asking a question that surprises my patients. What do you eat after 8 p.m.? I'm often met with puzzled looks. Just a handful of nuts, someone will say, or a piece of fruit, sometimes a protein bar. But the truth is, not all snacks are created equal, and the way the body processes them after dark can be drastically different than in the daytime. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. Tonight, I'm going to walk you through 9 everyday foods, starting with the healthy nighttime snack that could silently push your stroke risk to dangerous new heights. And once you hear the first one, you'll never look at your bedtime habits the same way again. Why is eating at night so much more dangerous once you're past 60? The answer lies in the quiet but dramatic changes that happen inside the aging body, changes you don't feel until it's too late. During your younger years, your circulatory system is flexible and adaptive. Your arteries expand and contract easily, helping regulate blood pressure with every heartbeat. But after 60, the walls of those arteries begin to stiffen, a process called arterial stiffening. This natural aging change means your heart must pump harder to move blood, especially at night when the body's natural blood pressure dips. When you add a late-night snack into the mix, even a healthy one, you create a surge in blood sugar and insulin that can cause temporary spikes in blood pressure during sleep. That spike wouldn't be a problem for a young person with strong elastic arteries, but in seniors, those stiffened vessels can't handle the sudden pressure shift. Small cracks may develop in the vessel lining, especially in the brain's delicate capillaries. This damage creates the ideal conditions for a blood clot to form, and if that clot travels to the brain, it can block oxygen supply, triggering a stroke. Then there's the metabolic slowdown. As you age, your body becomes less efficient at breaking down and storing nutrients, particularly carbohydrates. This means that a sugary snack, or even a food naturally high in sugars like certain fruits, will linger longer in your bloodstream. Overnight, your blood sugar remains elevated, which can cause inflammation in your arteries and increase the stickiness of platelets, making clots more likely. I once treated a patient named Mr. Park, 72, who insisted he didn't eat junk food at night. His routine was simple: a few slices of whole grain bread with honey before bed. "It helps me sleep," he said. What he didn't realize was that the combination of carbs and sugar was causing repeated nighttime blood sugar spikes. One morning, his wife found him unable to speak, his right side paralyzed. He had suffered a stroke during the night, the result of years of silent vascular damage made worse by his bedtime snack habit. Nighttime eating also disrupts another key protective system, your circadian rhythm. Your body's internal clock is designed to focus on rest and repair during the night, not digestion. Eating late forces your body to divert resources to breaking down food instead of repairing cells and maintaining healthy blood flow. This diversion can reduce nighttime oxygen delivery to the brain, another subtle but serious risk factor for strokes. And here's the most important point. Many seniors don't notice any warning signs before a nighttime stroke. You might feel perfectly fine when you fall asleep. The damage happens quietly, beneath the surface. That's why I tell my patients, if you're over 60, every bite you take after dark should be chosen with caution. If this information makes you rethink your nightly habits, just wait until you hear about the specific healthy snack in the next section. It's something many seniors eat without a second thought, and yet it may be doing more harm than you could imagine. The snack I'm talking about isn't a candy bar or greasy chips. In fact, it's something that often sits proudly on kitchen counters in pretty glass jars or in neatly labeled pantry containers, dried fruit. On the surface, dried fruit sounds like a perfect choice. It's natural, it's full of fiber, and it contains vitamins and antioxidants. Raisins, dates, figs, apricots. These are the kinds of foods nutritionists often recommend for quick energy. But here's the problem. When fruit is dried, the natural sugars inside become concentrated. That handful of raisins you pop into your mouth before bed can contain as much sugar as a candy bar, but without the fiber and water content of fresh fruit to slow down absorption. For someone over 60, this concentrated sugar load at night can create a dangerous chain reaction. First, it causes a rapid blood sugar spike. Then, as your body scrambles to produce enough insulin to handle that spike, your blood vessels experience stress. This can increase nighttime blood pressure and make your blood more prone to clotting. Another hidden risk comes from the compounds used to preserve dried fruit. Many commercially packaged varieties are treated with sulfites to keep them looking fresh and colorful. While harmless to most people in small amounts, sulfites can constrict blood vessels in sensitive individuals and worsen circulation issues. Exactly the opposite of what you want when you're trying to prevent a stroke. I remember a patient, Mrs. Yoon, 69, who came to my clinic complaining of sudden dizziness and blurred vision upon waking. Her MRI revealed she had experienced a minor ischemic stroke overnight. She was puzzled. Her diet was healthy, and she avoided processed foods. But when I asked her to walk me through her evening routine, she admitted she often had just a small bowl of dried apricots before bed. It was her comfort snack, something she believed was far better than sweets or pastries. In reality, that small bowl contained nearly 25 grams of sugar, all consumed right before her most vulnerable hours of circulation. Beyond sugar, dried fruit is also calorie-dense, which means your digestive system must work harder at a time when your body should be focusing on restorative processes. This keeps your heart rate slightly elevated and your blood vessels under tension during the night. For seniors, especially those with existing cardiovascular issues, that extra load can tip the balance toward a vascular event. And here's something most people never consider. When you eat sugar-rich snacks before bed, your body can experience a rebound drop in blood sugar during the night. This drop triggers a stress hormone release, which in turn can cause early morning surges in blood pressure, a common time window for strokes to occur. So while dried fruit may seem harmless for an aging circulatory system, it can be a hidden danger in disguise. And if you think that's surprising, you'll be even more shocked by the story of Mr. Han, whose innocent nighttime indulgence landed him in the emergency room in the middle of the night. Mr. Han was 67, a retired school principal known for his disciplined lifestyle. He walked every morning, ate balanced meals, and kept his weight in check. Friends and family often praised him for aging well. But one night, everything changed. It was just past 2 a.m. when his wife awoke to a strange sound, a muffled thud followed by shallow breathing. She turned on the light and found Mr. Han slumped halfway out of bed, his face drooping on one side, his right arm limp. Panic surged through her as she realized he couldn't speak. She dialed emergency services immediately, her hands trembling as she tried to keep him conscious. At the hospital, the diagnosis was swift, a major ischemic stroke. The brain scan showed a blocked artery supplying critical areas for speech and motor function. When the medical team began piecing together possible causes, Mr. Hand's health record offered few clues. No history of smoking, his cholesterol levels were well controlled, and his blood pressure, though slightly elevated, had been stable for years. Then came the conversation that shifted the investigation. During a follow-up, I asked his wife about his nightly routine. "He doesn't snack on junk," she assured me. "Just something light, a small plate of dried figs and a cup of herbal tea before bed. He says it helps him sleep." That something light turned out to be a significant factor. Those dried figs, while packed with fiber and minerals, also contained high concentrations of natural sugars and potassium. In the daytime, his body could manage the load, but at night, when circulation slows and the vascular system is more vulnerable, that sugar surge combined with elevated potassium altered his blood pressure and thickened his blood just enough to tip the scale toward clot formation. We believe the stroke likely occurred in the early morning hours, when blood pressure naturally rises as the body prepares to wake. In Mr. Hand's case, that normal rise was amplified by the previous night's vascular strain, making a blockage more likely. Recovery was slow. Months of speech therapy and physical rehabilitation brought partial improvement, but he never fully regained the dexterity in his right hand, and his speech remained slightly slurred. The most painful part for him was knowing that the habit he believed was harmless, even healthy, had played a role in his life-changing event. I share Mr. Hand's story because it illustrates an uncomfortable truth. Healthy is context-dependent. What benefits a younger adult can harm someone over 60, especially when eaten at the wrong time of day. The aging brain and heart demand more strategic eating, and late-night snacks, even wholesome ones, can turn against you. And as startling as Mr. Hand's case is, the next hidden danger is one that many seniors consume daily without realizing it's quietly spiking their blood pressure while they sleep. The next hidden danger is something you might sip slowly in the evening, thinking it's a harmless way to relax before bed, but it can silently push your blood pressure into risky territory while you sleep. Certain herbal teas and healthy drinks high in natural stimulants. For years, many seniors have been told to avoid coffee at night because of caffeine's obvious effects on sleep. But what's less well known is that some herbal teas and plant-based drinks contain compounds that act as vascular stimulants, even without traditional caffeine. Ingredients like yerba mate, guarana, ginseng, or even concentrated green tea extracts can cause subtle increases in heart rate and constriction of blood vessels. Here's why that matters after 60. During the night, your blood pressure should dip by about 10 to 20%. This natural drop, called nocturnal dipping, gives your arteries a much-needed rest. But when you consume a drink that keeps your sympathetic nervous system slightly activated, even mildly, your body may fail to achieve that dip. Instead, your blood pressure remains elevated for hours, putting constant strain on already stiffened arteries. This sustained pressure makes small vessel damage more likely and can set the stage for a clot or hemorrhage. I treated a patient, Mrs. Kim, 74, who believed she had found the perfect bedtime ritual, a large mug of energy herbal infusion that she'd discovered at a health food store. It promised vitality, circulation support, and mental clarity. What she didn't realize was that it contained ginseng and green tea extract, ingredients that, while beneficial for some people during the day, can be counterproductive at night for seniors. Mrs. Kim had been experiencing morning headaches and occasional lightheadedness, which she attributed to poor sleep. One morning, she woke to numbness in her left hand and difficulty focusing her vision. A hospital scan confirmed she had suffered a small stroke during the night. Blood pressure readings from her home monitor revealed that her nighttime levels had been consistently higher than her daytime readings, the opposite of what should happen. When we traced back her habits, the culprit became clear. The compounds in her evening drink were essentially keeping her body in a mild daytime mode, preventing the blood pressure dip and allowing stress hormones like cortisol to remain elevated overnight. In the fragile vascular environment of an aging brain, this is enough to turn a risk factor into a medical emergency. It's important to understand that not all teas or evening drinks are dangerous. The problem lies in specific ingredients and timing. Chamomile, lemon balm, and rooibos, for example, are generally safe and can promote relaxation. But anything with stimulating, Herbs or concentrated plant extracts should be avoided in the hours before sleep. And while drinks like Mrs. Kim's are an underappreciated hazard, they're far from the only late-night threat. Even snacks that seem gentle on the stomach can have a hidden effect on your blood's clotting ability, especially those containing unexpected sugar sources. That's what we'll uncover next. Sugar's role in stroke risk is often underestimated, especially when it comes in forms that seem innocent. Most people know that excess sugar can contribute to weight gain or diabetes, but far fewer realize its direct link to blood clot formation, particularly in older adults. Here's how it works. When you consume sugar, your blood glucose levels rise. In response, your pancreas releases insulin to help shuttle that glucose into your cells for energy or storage. But in seniors, the body's cells often become less sensitive to insulin, a condition called insulin resistance. This means glucose lingers in the bloodstream longer, keeping blood sugar levels elevated well into the night if consumed before bed. Prolonged high blood sugar triggers a cascade of biochemical changes. It increases the production of inflammatory molecules, stiffens blood vessel walls, and makes platelets, the tiny cells that help your blood clot, stickier. Sticky platelets are more likely to clump together and form clots. In the confined vessels of the brain, even a small clot can block blood flow and trigger a stroke. The danger grows when sugar is hidden in foods marketed as healthy. Yogurts labeled low-fat often contain high amounts of added sugar to improve taste. Granola bars, protein shakes, and even certain whole-grain biscuits can pack more sugar than a serving of dessert. Many seniors choose these snacks at night, believing they're doing something good for their health. I recall treating Mr. Lee, 70, a retired bus driver who prided himself on his healthy diet. Every night, he ate a small bowl of flavored yogurt with a sprinkle of granola. "It's light, it's nutritious, and it helps me sleep," he said. But the combination contained nearly 20 grams of sugar, the equivalent of 5 teaspoons, right before his longest period of physical inactivity. One early morning, his wife found him sitting on the edge of the bed, unable to lift his left arm. He had suffered a clot-based stroke in the motor control region of his brain. Blood work revealed elevated fasting, blood sugar, and inflammation markers. When we removed the nightly yogurt and granola routine from his diet and adjusted his overall sugar intake, his morning blood pressure and clotting markers improved within weeks. The risk isn't limited to obvious sweeteners. Certain natural sugars like honey or maple syrup, while less processed, still have the same physiological impact when consumed in excess. And for older adults, the window between moderate and excessive is much narrower than for younger people. If you've been thinking, "I don't eat much sugar," it's worth checking labels and rethinking evening snacks altogether. Sugar is often tucked into unexpected places, and for someone over 60, those grams add up quickly to create a high-risk environment for your brain while you sleep. But sugar isn't the only silent threat lurking in bedtime foods. Sometimes, the danger comes from something that doesn't taste sweet at all, a mineral you actually need in small amounts, but which can become dangerous when it creeps too high. That's exactly what happened to Mrs. Choi in the next section. Mrs. Choi was 71, a retired nurse who knew the importance of balanced nutrition. She avoided processed snacks and fried foods, opting instead for what she believed were wholesome, low-fat options. Her favorite evening ritual was simple: a small bowl of cottage cheese topped with sliced tomatoes, drizzled lightly with soy sauce. It seemed harmless, even smart. Cottage cheese is high in protein and low in fat, and tomatoes add vitamins and antioxidants. But there was a hidden element in her nightly snack that quietly worked against her brain health: sodium. Most people think of salt only in relation to blood pressure, but in seniors, the story is more complex. As we age, our kidneys become less efficient at filtering excess sodium from the blood. This means that a salty snack in the evening can keep sodium levels elevated for hours. High sodium triggers the body to retain water, which increases blood volume, and in turn, raises blood pressure. Here's the problem. The early morning hours are already a time when blood pressure naturally spikes. Add to that the residual effect of an evening sodium load, and you have a perfect setup for dangerous vascular stress. For Mrs. Choi, this extra strain was enough to set off a chain of events. One morning, around 5:30 a.m., she woke to find her vision doubled. She tried to get out of bed, but her legs felt unstable. Her husband called emergency services, and within an hour, she was in the neurology ward. The diagnosis: a transient ischemic attack, TIA, often called a mini-stroke. While she recovered within days, the episode served as a warning sign. When we reviewed her diet, it became clear that her cottage cheese, a food often recommended for its protein content, was packing over 400 milligrams of sodium per serving. The drizzle of soy sauce added another 300 to 500 milligrams, pushing her evening sodium load well above what her aging kidneys could comfortably handle. This sodium-induced overnight blood pressure elevation had likely compromised small blood vessels in her brain, triggering the TIA. What's alarming is that Mrs. Choi's snack didn't taste especially salty to her. Many seniors lose some sensitivity to salt over time, meaning they may add more than their younger selves ever would. This diminished taste sensitivity, combined with slow sodium clearance, can lead to chronically high nighttime blood pressure without obvious symptoms. After her TIA, we adjusted her routine. She swapped her cottage cheese for unsalted Greek yogurt and replaced soy sauce with a squeeze of lemon. Within weeks, her morning blood pressure readings improved, and her dizziness episodes disappeared. Mrs. Choi's story is a reminder that the danger in bedtime snacks isn't always about sugar or fat. Sometimes it's about how a seemingly beneficial food interacts with an aging body's changing chemistry. And while sodium is a powerful silent threat, the next risk we'll cover comes from a completely different direction, a type of fat that hides in unexpected foods and quietly undermines circulation during the very hours your brain needs steady, unobstructed blood flow. When people think about unhealthy fats, they often picture greasy fast food or deep-fried snacks. But some of the most circulation-damaging fats are far more subtle, and they can appear in foods marketed as healthy, especially those aimed at providing quick energy or satisfying a late-night craving. I'm talking about trans fats and certain forms of saturated fats that, while naturally occurring, can be problematic for seniors when eaten at the wrong time. Even small amounts before bed can alter blood chemistry overnight in ways that increase stroke risk. Here's the science. Trans fats, often found in commercially baked goods, non-dairy creamers, margarine, and even some healthy crackers, have a unique ability to raise LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, while lowering HDL, the good cholesterol. This imbalance encourages plaque buildup in the arteries, a process known as atherosclerosis. For someone over 60, who may already have narrowed vessels, this makes clots more likely to form and travel. But there's another mechanism at play during nighttime. When these fats are consumed right before sleep, they can temporarily thicken the blood and impair endothelial function, the ability of your blood vessels to dilate and keep blood flowing smoothly. Overnight, when blood naturally flows more slowly, this effect can create stagnant zones where clotting is more likely. One patient, Mr. Cho, 68, learned this the hard way. He had a habit of making a healthy sandwich before bed using whole grain bread, lean turkey, and a generous spread of plant-based margarine. He believed he was avoiding bad animal fats, but the margarine brand he used contained partially hydrogenated oils, a hidden source of trans fat. One early morning, Mr. Cho woke with numbness in his right hand and difficulty forming words. He was rushed to the hospital, where scans showed a small clot had lodged in a branch of his middle cerebral artery. His blood tests revealed elevated inflammatory markers and poor lipid balance. When we examined his diet, the bedtime sandwich stood out as the main source of his trans fat intake. Removing that single habit and switching to heart-healthy fats like avocado or olive oil earlier in the day helped stabilize his cholesterol and reduce his inflammation within months. It's important to note that not all fats are dangerous at night. Healthy fats from sources like nuts, seeds, and oily fish can be beneficial when consumed at appropriate times. The problem lies in processed or heat-altered fats that the body struggles to break down efficiently, especially during sleep. If you're in the habit of eating crackers, biscuits, or energy bars before bed, check the labels. Look for terms like partially hydrogenated oil, a red flag for trans fats, or palm oil blends, which can be high in saturated fat. The aging body's slower metabolism means these fats linger in the bloodstream longer, compounding their negative effects. By steering clear of these hidden fats in the evening, You can give your circulatory system a rest during the hours it's most vulnerable. And speaking of giving your body a break, the next step toward nighttime stroke prevention is all about retraining your evening routine so your snacks work for your health instead of against it. Breaking a long-standing evening habit can feel daunting, especially if that snack or drink has been part of your nightly comfort for years. But with the right strategy, you can retrain your body and brain to crave safer options and lower your risk of a nighttime stroke in the process. The first step is timing. Your body's metabolism and circulatory system are more active during the day, which means it's best to finish your last substantial snack at least 2 to 3 hours before bed. This window allows your blood sugar and blood pressure to stabilize before your most vulnerable hours of sleep. The second step is substitution. Instead of focusing on what you're removing, focus on what you can add that satisfies the same need. If you crave something sweet in the evening, swap dried fruit or sugary yogurt for a small serving of fresh berries, paired with a spoonful of unsweetened Greek yogurt. The combination delivers antioxidants and protein without a massive sugar load. If you tend to reach for something salty, replace sodium-heavy foods like cheese, soy sauce, or processed crackers with unsalted nuts or air-popped popcorn, lightly seasoned with herbs. These still provide a satisfying crunch, but won't drive your blood pressure upward overnight. Next comes hydration strategy. Many seniors reach for herbal teas in the evening, but as we discussed earlier, it's important to avoid stimulating herbs. Instead, choose chamomile, rooibos, or warm water with a squeeze of lemon. These promote relaxation without interfering with your body's nocturnal blood pressure dip. A useful tip I give my patients is the comfort ritual swap. Often, what we seek at night isn't really the food. It's the sense of winding down. Try replacing the act of eating with another soothing habit, reading, stretching, or even deep breathing exercises. Over time, your brain will associate that ritual with comfort, reducing the psychological pull toward food. One patient, Mrs. Beck, 69, loved her nightly bowl of sweetened cereal. When we identified it as a blood sugar and sodium risk, she was hesitant to give it up. We started small. She kept the cereal but moved it to mid-afternoon and replaced her evening snack with a warm mug of rooibos tea and a handful of walnuts. Within weeks, she noticed better sleep quality and lower morning blood pressure readings. Finally, track your progress. Keep a small notebook or use a simple calendar to mark nights when you stick to your new routine. Seeing that streak grow can be motivating, and over time, your taste preferences will shift naturally toward your safer choices. Rebuilding your nighttime routine isn't about depriving yourself, it's about protecting the circulation that keeps your brain and body functioning. And once you see how much better you feel in the mornings, you won't want to go back. Still, knowing which foods to avoid is only half the battle. In the final section, we'll recap the biggest takeaways and give you a short list of safe, brain-friendly evening snacks so you can enjoy your nights without worrying about what's happening to your blood vessels while you sleep. As we've seen throughout this journey, the foods and drinks you choose before bed can have a profound impact on your brain health, especially after 60. Aging changes how your body processes sugar, salt, fat, and even certain plant compounds. Your blood vessels become less elastic, your metabolism slows, and your nighttime blood pressure control becomes more fragile. All of these shifts make the hours between bedtime and sunrise a critical period for stroke prevention. The core message is simple. What seems healthy in general can be risky at night for seniors. Dried fruits, high-sodium dairy, stimulating herbal teas, sugary low-fat snacks, and trans-fat-laden crackers may all carry hidden dangers. It's not just about calories or nutrients. It's about timing, chemistry, and the unique vulnerabilities of an aging circulatory system. But here's the good news. You can take control. By making small, deliberate changes to your nighttime habits, you can significantly reduce your risk. Start with these brain-safe alternatives. Fresh berries with unsweetened Greek yogurt, low in sugar, high in antioxidants, and paired with protein to stabilize blood sugar. Unsalted walnuts or almonds, healthy fats that support vascular flexibility without spiking blood pressure. Sliced cucumber or celery sticks with hummus, hydrating, low sodium, and rich in fiber. A small piece of avocado on whole grain toast provides heart-healthy monounsaturated fats without heavy digestion load. rooibos or chamomile tea, naturally calming and free of circulation-disrupting stimulants, warm water with lemon, gentle hydration that supports overnight repair without overburdening the kidneys. To make these changes stick, follow 3 simple rules. Eat earlier in the evening. Finish your last snack at least 2 to 3 hours before bed. Pair carbs with protein or healthy fat. This slows absorption and prevents sharp nighttime blood sugar swings. Avoid stimulants and high sodium. Keep your vascular system in a restful state so your brain gets steady, unobstructed blood flow. I've seen patients transform their health just by applying these principles. Morning headaches disappeared, blood pressure readings improved, energy levels rose, and most importantly, their risk of experiencing a life-changing stroke in the night dropped dramatically. You have more control than you think. Every snack, every cup, every choice you make after sunset can either protect your brain or put it in harm's way. Armed with the right knowledge, you can tip the balance in your favor. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, the goal isn't to fear food, but to understand it, respect it, and use it to your advantage. Protect your brain, protect your life.